Coming up on West Dakota Fox News at 9, a wild boat crash caught on camera. Plus, after decades in the dark, Wilton is back spreading some cheer. But first, tackling a tough subject in Bismarck in hopes of saving lives.
This is West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Molly Martinez and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. We begin tonight with the story of a mother who lost her son to suicide. According to the Department of Health, suicide is the second leading cause of death. In 2015, it eclipsed opioid overdoses. Today in Bismarck, a coalition met in hopes of supporting survivors, preventing loss, and destigmatizing mental illness. Daniela Hurtado was there.
He was discharged to himself when he had been suicidal.
Cora Doctor lost her son, Steve, to suicide 3 years ago. Now she carries his story to help others and wants more facilities to be trained on a program called Zero Suicide.
It provides follow-up phone calls for people after they're discharged. It will help them keep intact with a professional that can help and assess at a point where a family maybe can't do it.
The conference Wednesday also talked about warning signs and how to ask directly about the issue.
It's very difficult for people to disclose thoughts of suicide without being asked directly, and so we just really encourage people to watch for warning signs.
It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to ask for help.
Trainer says they want to move forward with action and prevent suicide across North Dakota. For West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Daniela Hurtado.
Medical practitioners say if you or somebody you know needs help, contact the Suicide Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. Time now to take our first check on weather with meteorologist Henry Blakes. Henry, you gave us a gift today.
Yeah, 40 degrees at the capital city. The rest of your forecast coming up later.
Thank you, Henry. Red Fawn Fallis, the woman accused of firing a gun while being tackled during the Dapple protest, is set to change her plea. According to court documents, on Monday she'll plead guilty to the lesser charge of civil disorder and possession of a gun by a convicted felon. If the judge accepts the plea, the government will recommend a sentence of no more than 7 years. In Minot, the courts are postponing a March sentencing for a woman who admitted involvement in a murder conspiracy. 27-year-old Cynthia Wilder entered Afford pleas in November. Prosecutors say that Cynthia helped her husband, Richie Wilder Jr., plan the murder of his ex-wife Angela in 2015. She's also accused of trying to break Richie out of jail. No word on when that new sentencing date will be. Another man's 2-year sentence was cut to 6 months to give him credit for time served. Tate Smith-Neerlin in Fargo kept police and a SWAT team at bay for 5 hours as he held 2 women hostage back in August. One managed to escape, and Smith-Neerlin eventually surrendered. Instead of serving more jail time, he'll serve his sentence in a halfway house. A Bismarck man who pleaded guilty to setting his apartment on fire will spend the next 4 years behind bars. Darren Weber barricaded his roommate's bedroom door on December 5th, then lit it on fire. The roommate was not hurt. Weber says that he pleaded guilty in order to get back to prison and get mental health treatment. He's also a registered sex offender. The trial for a Fargo man accused in the kidnapping and murder of Savannah Graywind has been pushed back. William Hone's case will now be presented before a jury May 15th instead of March to give attorneys more time to prepare. Hone pleaded not guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and kidnapping. His girlfriend Brooke Cruz has pleaded guilty and will be sentenced on February 2nd. Graywind was 8 months pregnant when she disappeared in August. Her body was found about a week later. Her newborn baby was found alive in Cruz and Hone's apartment. Well, after almost 5 years as chief and 30 years on the force, Bismarck Police Chief Dan Donlin is stepping down. Donlin says his choice in retiring from BPD will allow him to chase different opportunities within the community. He says he will not be running for sheriff of Burleigh County.
I'm hoping that something out there will be available in that regard where I can interact with, still be in the community, not be under the spotlight, a little less stress would be nice, but I have no regrets, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful career.
He says his retirement will be sometime between June and September. The department says they don't know if they will be hiring their next chief internally or seeking his replacement elsewhere. Meantime, a day after Pat Heinert announced he will not seek re-election as Burleigh County Sheriff, Chief Deputy Kelly Levin has announced his intention to run. According to a news release, the formal announcement will be made tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the VFW in Bismarck. Over in Fairview, the community is welcoming a new volunteer fire department facility. The $2.1 million project houses 7 fire trucks and 19 firefighters. The change was long overdue. They say the previous fire hall needed an extensive renovation or to be torn down entirely.
It only took about 7 months to build once they first broke ground, so the contractor did a great job building this place in a timely fashion, so it was amazing.
Chief Taylor says the new facility has already started its operations and they've seen more volunteers come through the door. On the agricultural front, the 2017 drought had a major impact on early season crops, but late season rain saved a lot of the harvest. The National Sunflower Association says early in the growing season the crop struggled, but by harvest time the yield was only 80 pounds less than 2016. The association says years like 2017 really rely on drought-resistant crops like sunflowers.
Nice rain in August and in July, and that just little bit of rain that we got just really turned the crop around and turned into a great yield this year.
As far as soybeans go, they are down 4% from last year, and corn is down 13%. Well, North Dakota is seeing a revenue surplus. During the first 6 months of the new biennium, the state collected $27 million more than expected. That's mostly thanks to grain sales and income tax for individuals and corporations. However, these numbers don't include what is to be expected after a strong holiday shopping season.
This does not include the Christmas sales because those won't be collected until later on this month. So this is just probably an indication of the strength of activity that's going on in western North Dakota as a result of the increase in the price of oil.
The increased revenue will not change budgets for the state agencies this biennium. In education news, more than 100 years of teaching experience is leaving Dickinson Public Schools. Principal Ron Doctor at Dickinson High and Sherry Liblis at Prairie Rose Elementary will both retire at the end of the school year. Superintendent Douglas Sullivan is also retiring.
Experience as a great teacher, there's no question about it, and I'm hoping that people that apply for those type of jobs will have experience that will help them in the jobs that they will get here in the Dickinson Public School System.
DPS will see more than just personnel changes. Berg Elementary is opening its doors next year. Superintendent Doug Sullivan says repurposing Berg will take the pressure off the other schools.
We continue to see the local hospitals set records every year for live births. And with our student population continuing to increase in K-5, the classrooms are needed as we continue to move forward.
Since 2009, when Sullivan took over, the K-5 population has increased more than 50%. Well, it's been more than a decade since Wilton High School has had some spirit on their sidelines. Education reporter Cynthia McLaughlin says now the game's about to change. Well, someone in Dickinson is $100,000 richer tonight. According to lottery officials, the winner picked up their prize this morning. The winner chose to remain anonymous, probably to avoid some new friends, but they say they plan on using the money from their Powerball winning to pay off bills and save for college. The Powerball jackpot tonight is $62 million. Good luck. Welcome back. A search for a missing Ivy League pre-med student is now a homicide investigation. Charges are filed against the man accused of murdering 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein. Police say 20-year-old Samuel Woodward was communicating with Bernstein on Snapchat the day he went missing. Police say Woodward was a classmate of Bernstein's. Woodward now is facing 1 felony count of murder. Police say there's evidence Woodward used a knife in the crime and visited the crime scene several times while Bernstein was still missing. A 16-year-old boy is dead after he was shot inside an Ohio courthouse. It happened a few hours ago. According to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, the teen was in juvenile court on a firearm-related charge. At some point, an altercation broke out with a deputy and a shot was fired. Well, a Marine is being hailed as a hero tonight after saving a suicidal man from jumping off a bridge. It happened last night on the Eads Bridge in St. Louis. James Sperry says he took a different route home when he noticed the man standing on the railing. Sperry immediately pulled over, using his own experience with PTSD to help talk the man off the rail. Some wild video to show you out of Oregon tonight. A GoPro was rolling when anglers realized a boat was speeding straight towards them. When the boat didn't change course, everyone on board had to jump ship. No word on how the other boater lost control. A person has died after a car crashed into a school in Fort Myers, Florida earlier today. Officials have issued a statement saying there were no injuries to students or employees, no word on the identity of the victim or what may have led to the crash. Well, an Arctic blast is choking parts of Texas today, causing black ice patches along busy highways. Police had to close off several sections, forcing cars to turn around. And heavy snowfall in North Carolina is creating dangerous road conditions too. A car even losing its wheel axle on a slippery road. So far, Charlotte police say they've responded to over 160 car wrecks today due to the weather. But the snow is not all bad, right? North Carolina kids spent their day sledding, and it's looking like they're going to have another snow day again tomorrow. It's expected to dump another couple inches tonight. Let's see how we're looking here in our region. Over to you, Henry. Longtime newspaper publisher and state senator John Andrist has passed away. It was this morning. He was 86 years old. Andrist, who's from Crosby, published the Journal in Divide County from 1961 to 1991 and served in the legislature from 1993 to 2014. He was the only North Dakotan to serve as president of the National Newspaper Association. While today we're enjoying a relative warm-up, others are braving a deep freeze. Take a look at this picture taken of a woman in a town in Russia where the temperatures dropped to 88 degrees below. Residents in the region are no strangers to cold, but this week's cold spell wasn't even dominating local news headlines. Henry, that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, something like that happened. A few people during our last Arctic blast saw some men send me some photos of their beards actually freeze, I guess, from the moisture, freezing, possibly from sweat. But yeah, thankfully we don't have to deal with that for the time being. We'll be waking up to temperatures near 20 degrees for your Thursday morning, and then by the afternoon, we're back into the 40s. Better chance of widespread 40s and southwest wind 5 to 15 on average, a little gustier across the southwest. Otherwise, yes, temperatures remain well above normal with a little bit of a cool down next week.
I hope that becomes a new makeup trend, just deep freeze.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow.